Welcome to Marvelous French, in-depth French lessons for students of all levels. This lesson is a continuation of our pronunciation series. In previous lessons on pronunciation, we covered the French alphabet and French vowels. Those lessons mostly focused on the sounds that individual letters make in their purest form, when they're alone in a syllable, for example. Please feel free to check those videos out if you haven't already before diving into this one. Links are in the description box below. We covered some basic aspects of French pronunciation in those lessons that will come in handy as we move forward. So again, previous lessons focused on individual letters, but a lot of French pronunciation is actually based on specific combinations of letters that are pronounced a certain way. In this lesson, we're going to look at some of the most common letter combinations and the sounds they make. Now, as you study French and listen to French and speak it yourself, you'll naturally begin to pick up on some of these patterns without really even being aware of it. But it doesn't hurt to be made aware of some of the most common patterns. French pronunciation can seem unpredictable at first to some people, but there actually are rules and logic. You can get to the point where you can pronounce a word you've never seen before correctly based on these patterns and rules. The trick is to look at words not as individual letters, because usually trying to sound out a word in French letter by letter doesn't work well. But you want to look at words in terms of the combinations of letters that are found in a given syllable and the particular sound that precise combination makes, because the pronunciation of a given letter can change drastically based on what precedes or follows it. So just to drive that point home, let's look briefly at the letter E and how its pronunciation changes based on letter combinations. So here we have 6 words, each with at least one E. Notice how the pronunciation changes from word to word. Le, et, est, prend, reine, chante. So in the first instance, E is alone in a syllable and sounds like E, le. The combination EST, meaning is pronounced E. Now EST can also be a noun meaning east. In that case, it's pronounced est. The combination EN can produce a nasal sound, en, as in the word prend. The combination EI, when followed by most pronounced consonants, is often pronounced E, a short E sound, as in reine. And in both reine and the following word, chante, we have an E at the end of the word which tends to be silent. Reine, chante. So if we try to answer the question, how do you pronounce the letter E in French? The answer is, it depends. E, and en are just some possibilities. We have to look at the bigger picture, at the combinations. So let's go ahead and dive in and look at some of the more common combinations. First, let's look at the combination AU and EAU. These combinations are pronounced O, like the French letter O. Notice how the pronunciation of these letters together is drastically different from the individual sounds they make. For example, if we look at the combination AU, A by itself is pronounced A. U is pronounced U. AU together, however, is not AU. This combination of vowels, known as a diphthong, produces a new, separate sound, O. We have the same thing with the combination EAU. Individually, the letters are pronounced E, A, U. Together, however, they form a diphthong, that is, a combination of vowels, pronounced O. So when we see this combination, we want to recognize the pronunciation as O instead of trying to sound out the individual vowels. Here are some examples of words with these combinations. Note that I've included the gender for nouns in parentheses, M for masculine nouns, F for feminine nouns. Jaune, tôt, faux, pot, bateau, bureau. Now let's look at the combination AI. There are a couple of possibilities based on whether or not AI is followed by a pronounced consonant. Most consonants that come at the end of a word are silent. When AI is followed by a silent consonant or comes at the end of a word, it tends to be pronounced with what we call a closed sound, E, like E with an accent aigu, E. Here are some examples. J'ai, fait, parlerai, mais. Consonants followed by E at the end of a word tend to be pronounced. When AI is followed by a pronounced consonant, it tends to have what we call an open sound, E. The same sound as the E with the accent grave or E with the accent circonflexe, E. Here are some examples. Note that the I might sometimes have an accent circonflexe. This doesn't change the pronunciation. Chaise, fête, laine, chaîne. We see an accent circonflexe over the I in the word chaîne. Again, this doesn't change the pronunciation. To see how the pronunciation of AI changes based on what follows, let's compare the following words, the masculine and feminine forms of the word for French. The masculine form is pronounced français. The final consonant, S, is silent, so AI has the closed E sound, français. The feminine form, with an E added on the end, is pronounced française. Because S is followed by E here, we pronounce it. AI followed by a pronounced S gives us the open E sound, française. So we have français versus française. Compare the following two sentences. Il est français. He's French. Masculine. Et. Elle est française. She's French. Feminine. Est. Now, to reiterate something I mentioned a bit earlier, as for determining whether or not a consonant is pronounced, a general rule of thumb is that final consonants tend to be silent in French. Consonants followed by the letter E, on the other hand, such as in the word française, are usually pronounced. As always, there are exceptions. When in doubt, consult a dictionary that includes a pronunciation key. HarperCollins or the online Word Reference are two such dictionaries. Now, we just spoke about the combination AI. AIL is its own special combination that's pronounced I. Vowels followed by IL tend to result in a Y sound. In this case, the sound is actually a combination of the individual A and I sounds put together. I. Here are some examples. Note that the rule applies to the combination AILL as well. I, travail, taille, portail. To retain this sound when followed by an E, the L is doubled up, as we see in the third word here, taille. So AILLE is pronounced aille. However, AI followed by a single LE follows the normal rule of AI followed by a pronounced consonant, and so AI is open, E. So compare I, elle, paille. A final note, AI followed by a single N or M, provided that the letter coming after N or M is not E, can produce a nasal sound, A. We'll cover nasal sounds in a separate lesson. Now let's talk about another vowel plus IL combination, EIL, which is pronounced A. A. Here are some examples of this sound combination. The combination EILLE has the same pronunciation. Pareil, orteil, conseiller, merveilleux. Now let's talk about the combination EU, which, like AI, has two main sounds, an open and closed version, based on whether or not it's followed by a pronounced consonant. When EU is followed by a pronounced consonant, it often has an open sound. Here are some examples. Neuf, seul, jeune. And here we have a word with the combination OEU, which is also pronounced here. Œuf. When EU comes at the end of a word or is followed by a silent consonant, it has a more closed sound. Here are some examples. Je, feu, peu. And here we have the combination OEU again. This time it's the plural form of the word for eggs, which is pronounced Notice that the final consonants in the French word for eggs, F and S, are silent, which gives us the closed sound. The singular form of the word egg in French, OEUF, is pronounced œuf, as we saw in the previous list of words, because the final consonant is pronounced. So one egg, œuf. Plural eggs, Singular œuf versus plural Speaking of the closed versus open pronunciation of EU, compare the first two words here. Can you hear the difference? Je, jeune, A couple of notes. EU with an accent circonflexe over the U gives us the closed sound even when followed by a pronounced consonant. So for example, the word JEU with an accent circonflexe in E, which means fast, when you don't eat, is pronounced jeune. So we have je, jeune, but jeune. Speaking of jeune, some people have difficulty differentiating between the pronunciation of the two following words. Jaune, jeune. J-A-U-N-E is pronounced jaune. Remember that A-U is pronounced O. J-E-U-N-E is pronounced jeune, our open E-U sound followed by a pronounced consonant. Also note that EU can also be the past participle of the word avoir, to have. In this case, it's pronounced eu. For example, j'ai eu une vie intéressante. I've had an interesting life. Another note, EUR and also OEUR is its own combination, pronounced heure. L'heure, beurre, cœur, sœur. EU can also be combined with IL to produce the sound œil. Again, the L can be doubled up when followed by the letter E. Same pronunciation. Feuille, seuil, portefeuille, fauteuil. Note that the singular word for I, O-E-I-L, has the same pronunciation, œil. Now let's talk about the combination ER when it comes at the end of a verb, and EZ. These combinations are pronounced E, like E with an accent aigu. E. Here are some examples. Parler, chanter, aller, né, chez, rentrer. ER at the end of nouns or adjectives, on the other hand, is often pronounced air, as in mer, a noun meaning sea or ocean, and cher, an adjective meaning expensive. Another common combination is GU and QU. The U is silent in these cases. GU is pronounced G with a hard G, and QU is pronounced K like a K. Let's look at some examples. Guerre, guider, vague, quand, question, plaque. Notice that we aren't saying guerre, guider, quand. The U doesn't make a W sound when paired with G or Q like it sometimes does in English. Also note that Q is almost always followed by U in French, with the exception of words like cinq, C-I-N-Q, which means 5. But even in that case, it's still pronounced like a K. You'll see GU used with the vowels E and I. This is to maintain the hard G sound, as G followed by E or I is usually a soft J. So compare gère, guerre, gifle, guichet. Without the U, G followed by E or I is a soft J sound. GU gives us the hard G sound as in guerre and guichet. Now let's look at the combination ILLE. There are two possibilities. In many cases, this combination is pronounced il. In some cases, it's pronounced I. You'll want to consult a dictionary if you're unsure how a given word is pronounced. Here are some of the most common words. Let's start with words that end in the I sound. Fille, famille. Here are some words that end in the il sound. Ville, mille, tranquille. You'll also see the combination ILL not followed by E. It's often pronounced il in this case as well. Million, village. IL and ILE at the end of words, when not preceded by a vowel, are often also pronounced il. Civil, fil, facile. Note that FILS, which means son, is pronounced fils with a silent L and a pronounced S. The singular and plural versions of the word have the same pronunciation. Le fils, the son. Les fils, the sons. Now the word for thread, FIL, when made plural, looks the same as the word for son, FILS. But in this case, when it refers to the word thread, it's pronounced fil. So we have le fils, the son, les fils, the sons, le fil, the thread, les fils, the threads. So fils, meaning son or sons, versus fil, meaning thread or threads. Another common combination is IER, which is pronounced IE. I with a Y sound and E. IE. Here are some examples. Premier, dernier, ouvrier, crier. Now, IER sometimes comes at the end of the masculine form of adjectives like premier or dernier. When made feminine, the ending changes from IER, IE, to IE, accent grave RE, pronounced hier. Compare the masculine and feminine forms here. Samedi dernier. Samedi is masculine. The adjective dernier is masculine as well. Dernier. La semaine dernière. Semaine is a feminine noun. Dernier is made feminine to agree with the noun and becomes dernière. Masculine dernier. Feminine dernière. Masculine nouns that end in IER sometimes also have a feminine form that follows the same pattern. IER becomes IE accent grave RE. For example, ouvrier is a masculine noun meaning a male worker. The feminine form, used for a female worker, is ouvrière. Masculine ouvrier, feminine ouvrière. Our next combination is OI, which is pronounced wa. Here are some examples. Loi, roi, foi, toi. Note that OIN, provided it's not followed by E, is a special combination that yields the nasal sound ouin. Again, we'll cover nasal sounds in a separate lesson. That brings us to the combination OU, which is pronounced ou. Notice how the sound comes from the stomach and the throat, King Kong style. Ou. Here are some words containing this combination. Sous, pour, toujours, roux. Notice how ou sounds when combined with r. Our, our. Also note the difference between the OU sound and the letter U, which on its own is pronounced U. Do you hear the difference? OU is OU, coming from the stomach and the throat. U is U, coming more from the diaphragm and the nose. You can approximate the U sound by rounding your mouth and saying I. U. There are a pair of words whose only difference is the sound OU versus U. Sous, su, pour, pur, tout, tu, roux, rue. So you'll want to be mindful of the difference. Deep, rounded OU versus the more pinched U. Another note. OU is sometimes followed by IL. The combination OUIL as well as OUILLE is pronounced ouille. Here are some examples. Citrouille, fouiller, rouiller, bouillir. And that brings us to the conclusion of this lesson. We'll look at more pronunciation, including nasal sounds, in upcoming lessons. In the meantime, if you found this video helpful, please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Until then, à la prochaine! See you next time.